For decades, Kenya's forests have been under intense pressure as the country struggles to fuel its economy and feed its population. Commercial logging for poles, timber and pulp has been rising steadily as major players jostle for their share of the market. Even the small players such as women and children, anchored at the bottom of the energy chain, have not been left out as they forage for firewood.
Because I have to cook, and that's the thing I used to cook, because they are cheaper than paraffin and the gas. So I don't spend anything with the firewood, just go and collect.
Though scarce, wood fuel and charcoal remain the chief energy source for low-income families. To save on energy, majority of poor opt for easy-to-cook foods which are often less nutritious. The result is that Kenya's forest cover has been reduced to less than 2%, way below the internationally accepted minimum of 10%. This has adversely affected the country's biodiversity and distorted rain patterns over the years. Experts have expressed fear that unless the situation is reversed, devastating floods and drought will continue to destroy lives and livelihoods as nature takes revenge for overexploitation and wanton destruction of forests.
Since we got independence, there has been a declining forest cover for several reasons. I think the population pressure on forests is quite high, and this has been the major cause of declining forest cover in this country. In our estimation, I think we have lost about 1% of our forest cover since independence, and this is mainly due to settlements and clearing of land for conversion to agriculture.
Most of the settlements that were created after independence, most of them really were settlements on forest land, and therefore that necessitated a bit of clearing. Now, in a way, we could say that the current figure of 2% is basically cross-canopy forestry cover in the gazetted forests.
Clearly, something needed to be done before the situation became irreversible.
Most countries are advised to have not less than 10% forest cover. Okay? And when you drive around to various areas of Kenya, you see what we mean when we say the trees, we don't have adequate trees. So we better plant them, and we plant the ones which do grow fast and which do economically better than those other varieties.
However, all is not lost. A new partnership, the Tree Biotechnology Programme-Trust, is employing innovative ways to reverse this trend and meet the ever-growing demand for quality trees and tree products. But what is the Tree Biotechnology Programme-Trust and who is behind it? Mr. Benson Kanyi, the program manager, explains.
The biotechnology project was actually started in 1997 as a technology transfer initiative between the government of Kenya and a company from Modi, known as Modi Forest Limited. And the initiative also included a non-government organization, ISAAA, and a local NGO, Kenya TBP-Trust. And the initiative was supported financially by Gatsby Charitable Foundation.
What attracted us to partnering and working with TBP was that it's an innovative project, because it's about really bringing the work out of the labs, out of the scientists' desks and into farms. It was very, very attractive because it was targeting small farmers. It was targeting issues of farm forestry as a viable economic option.
Dr. Margaret Karembu, the director of the International Service for the Acquisition of Agri-Biotech Applications, which facilitated the transfer of the clonal technology from South Africa, talks about the objectives of the program.
The objectives of the Tree Biotechnology Project are threefold. One, to try and promote sustainable use of improved varieties of tree species. 2 is to impact on environmental conservation through increasing forest cover. And 3, to generate wealth, especially among the resource-challenged farmers, through growing of fast-growing trees, thus improving their fuelwood access, as well as some money to improve on their livelihoods.
But one may ask, why eucalyptus?
Eucalyptus is a promising fast-growing tree species that has been used in many parts of the world for reforestation activities.
These trees can achieve maybe 12 feet over 18 months and a much higher feet, maybe 30 or 40 feet over 7 or 8 years. So that from the point of view of a farmer looking either for poles for construction or a commercial outlet in the form of telegraph poles or maybe railway sleepers, or indeed, and in Kenya obviously this is very important, wood for charcoal, he or she can achieve a much faster rate of growth than is achievable in any other species in a shorter period of time.
Why we have used eucalyptus is because it's been researched upon for many years in South Africa, in Brazil, in China, in India, and in many other countries. It is a multi-purpose tree species. It can be able to provide firewood, it can provide charcoal, it can provide construction poles, it provides timber, it provides transmission poles, and it can provide pulp and paper. So it's a multiple use species, and for the short term, because of the scarcity of wood, even for firewood in Kenya, we find eucalyptus as an important entry point for technology.
Tree Biotechnology Programme-Trust started as a clonal nursery at Karura Forest from a humble beginning in 1997. The mission was to transfer the proven clonal eucalyptus technology from Mondi Forest in South Africa to test their suitability for Kenya's varying climatic conditions. They proved suitable, and the nursery now produces more than 3 million seedlings annually. Fiona Mwaniki, the program technical manager, explains the process of producing the high-quality seedlings.
From the mother plants, what we do is when you plant them, after 6 months we cut them back. And since the eucalyptus have an ability to coppice, that is to produce shoots, we are able to harvest the shoots after every 2 weeks. The copies are then converted into cuttings. The cuttings have their leaves reduced into half to reduce evapotranspiration loss. We also look at other aspects like the length of the cutting, which should be about 8 to 10 centimeters. And then the cuttings are dipped into a rooting hormone, which actually induces the cutting to root. And after the cuttings are dipped into rooting hormone, they are then transferred to the greenhouse. They stay there for a period of 40 days. Rooting begins after 2 weeks. And then after 40 days, we are able to move them out for hardening.
And to improve on its production efficiency and friendliness to the environment, the program installed an ultra-modern potting machine which produces thousands of planting tubes using biodegradable material in a very short time. The success of the program has led to even more demand from farmers across the country and the region. And in response, the program opened up regional hardening and distribution centers in Eldoret and other high potential areas to save farmers the costs of traveling to Nairobi to buy seedlings.
We have also received very encouraging support from the farmers who are actually the growers, and the demand for clones has grown from less than 1 million in 2001 to the present over 3-4 million.
I'm going to plant in Machakos, at the river area, part of Kitengela, which is in Machakos. I'm treating it as an investment, as a long-term investment to give me income in future I think there is a lot of demand for trees, not only in this town, but also surrounding areas. Fencing posts, especially in Machakos, for timber, firewood.
So far now I have planted 50 acres. And if the land is going to be available, that is not the end of it, I'm going to plant more. I'm hoping to reap quite a number of benefits from my eucalyptus here where they are fully grown. There are various kind of markets which I can go for. I can go for power transmission pole, telecommunication pole, timber, charcoal, and also I can go into what we call beekeeping.
Na omitire twagulino ndwadina wangu na neha aigana tulemba utwendie na utwendie ngu ona maira mangi ni maira maingi ngiruta.
But just as small farmers snap up the eucalyptus, bigger players like tea factories are likely beneficiaries to save energy costs and reduce dependence on fossil fuels. The Kenya Power and Lighting Company is another institutional customer, especially with the new push for rural electrification.
The preferred market would be the powered lighting people for their transmission poles, because they require a lot of them. And especially now that there is going to be serious rural electrification program.
To increase access to the popular seedlings by farmers, the program has embarked on a series of outreach activities to educate farmers as well as market the products to both rural and urban communities.
Okay, let me tell you, we have trees that will suit all agroclimatic zones.
We participate in the ASK shows. We look at the hotspot areas. We've participated in Nakuru, Nairobi. It is on annual basis. We do it because we believe it's the international trade fair. We've also done it in Mombasa. Apart from that, we hold field days, whereby we meet the farmers and interact with them, pass the information to them. We've had workshops for extension service providers. These are the extension service providers in forests and Ministry of Environment and Ministry of Agriculture. Apart from that, also we invite the local NGOs.
Farmers are now adopting tree farming as a commercial activity using tunneling technology, which enables them to propagate seedlings at the community level using locally available resources.
We have a new technology that we call the tunneling system, and under this technology the inputs used are very locally available. For example, we use clay subsoil, which I'm sure most farmers can be able to get, and then the structures do not require any use of electricity, and watering is very minimal.
TBP-Trust has been quite instrumental in funding this project, Tree Biotechnology Program, and through that we hope that to be able to train the local communities, interested entrepreneurs who can be able to take up the technology. Through technology, we call it technology downstream diffusion, and through that the local communities can be able to propagate these seedlings, and by doing so the farmers can access quality materials at a local community.
Now, when you talk about business, these aspects are very important.
The entrepreneurs are trained at the Tree Biotechnology Programme-Trust premises in Karura for 2 weeks, including classwork and field practicals, after which they are awarded certificates. From there, they are competent to go to their local communities and start their own small-scale nurseries. And to ensure that the quality of the seedlings is not compromised, experts from the TBP-Trust and KEFRI provide extension services.
To us, this Tree Biotechnology program, were it not for you, you could not have thought it wise or prudent to import it from South Africa. So you pioneered that, and you have given birth also to pioneers who are going to be clonal tree propagators. So thanks a lot. We have really learned a lot and we feel promoted.
So far, the program has sold over 13 million seedlings to over 17,000 farmers in Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and Southern Sudan. The success of the project is being replicated in the East African region, as Kanyi explains.
We have been able to train staff from Uganda and Tanzania. We have also been able to distribute materials from Kenya to Tanzania specifically and Southern Sudan. So these are the key countries that have benefited.
Mradi huu umeanza mwaka 2003. Mwaka 2003 baada ya kuanzishwa mradi huu ulianza kuandaa mashamba ya majaribio, trial plots. Kwa hiyo baada ya kutengeneza mashamba ya majaribio ili wananchi waone nini kinachokuja kuendelea baadaye, ndipo sasa tumeanza mwaka huu kuotesha miche rasmi. Baada ya kununua miche kutoka Kenya na Afrika Kusini, kwa hiyo tumekuja na sisi kuanzisha mbegu ambazo ndizo mbegu ambazo tunaoteshea hii miti.
They imported the material from South Africa. They carried out the tests in various parts of Uganda and found out that some of this material was really necessary for the farmers in Uganda, since it was the first growing species of eucalyptus.
Other benefits to the environment are expected from improved tree cover.
Forest products act as carbon sinks because they hold and reserve large quantities of carbon at different stages in their development process.
The impacts of climate change per se are being felt because there was no replanting of trees. There was no, it wasn't sustainable at that time. There were no deliberate efforts really to plant trees to replace those that have been harvested for wood.
But even as TBP takes root across the region, the project has not been without its challenges. The question of water uptake by eucalyptus species has been top on the farmers' list of fears, mainly based on rumors and traditional belief. Experts advise that appropriate site matching ensures proper land usage under eucalyptus.
The emphasis has always been that it is site specific, and what we would recommend is that in case of large scale planting, environmental impact assessment has to be done. But basically, eucalyptus does not necessarily consume more water than other trees or other food crops like sugarcane.
Other challenges are pests like the blue gum chalcid and aphid, as well as foliage, shoot and stem diseases.
In Kenya, we have had some three key fungal diseases of eucalypts, mainly Bostrophilia, Cryphonectria, and Coniferia. We also have had insect pests like Goniptera beetle, but these have been on a small scale on the eucalyptus we have grown in Kenya. For those that have come from South Africa, the crones have actually undergone a screening in South Africa through the trials and through what we call inoculation trials, where the non-fungal pathogens are actually injected into the trees. And this way, you are able to determine which varieties are susceptible to the common diseases. And these are excluded from further propagation.
Eucalyptus is native to Australia, and there are an estimated 700 species worldwide. With these efficient varieties, bred for survival in different climates, Kenya is likely to reap additional benefits of improved soil cover and its waters insulated from rapid evaporation. Already adequate local capacity has been developed, and Kenya's scientists are taking a lead role in breeding new varieties based on indigenous trees. The eucalyptus, whose name means well covered, offers this country one of the best opportunities to grow new canopies and sustainably supply raw material for tree products. The result will be improved climatic conditions, more tree resources for the economy, and a better quality of life for thousands of Kenyans across the country.
Tupande miti.